Thank you, Doreen, for that warm introduction. Now, it'd be really helpful if I could have a show of hands in terms of the audience that I'm speaking to today. So those people who are just starting on their journey or want to know about veganism, could you just raise your hands, please? And those who are already vegan? Oh my goodness, well, there's a lot of you. So, but please do realise, for those who are already experienced veganers, if that's a word, that this is the beginner's guide to veganism. So I'm just, and the purpose of this talk is just to explain the basics, but also to inspire you to make your commitment, to make the change, to be the change. And that's the purpose of today's talk. So I'm going to start. So this is the beginner's guide to veganism. And what my message is actually to enable every person on the planet to have a life-extending, whole food, plant-based diet. That's what I do with my life, and I'll explain that in just a moment in much more detail. In terms of my message, I want you to make better informed decisions. Question what you hear. Question. Don't follow other people. Formulate your own opinions, your own views. Be inquisitive about life. And the other thing is, maximize and enjoy your life. Find your own path. I think that's so important. And for me, my journey started, and I'm going to explain this, my journey started virtually 6 years ago. It was just after the Mayan calendar. And I remember it was January 2013, and I was in the kitchen, and I was in my small kitchen. My kitchen's really, really tiny. And I was in my kitchen, and I was there, and I took out a slab of meat which was wrapped in cellophane from the fridge, and took it out and held it in the palm of my hand. And I looked at it, and I thought, what is this? Why am I holding a dead corpse in the palm of my hand? What am I doing? Why? And why is it wrapped in plastic and cellophane? What is that? And suddenly it dawned on me, this sort of oneness, this connection with all life, with all sentient beings. And it was about, actually, oh my goodnI caused this harm and suffering. I participated in this harm and suffering. And it was almost like I had this, I felt nauseous, I felt uneasiness, I felt uncomfortability. And I thought, right, I've got to do something about this, because I'm feeling uncomfortable about this pain. I don't like feeling pain, but I'm feeling comfortable about this pain. So I've got to do something about it. So I thought, right, I'm going to look. So I love food. So I thought, I'm going to go to a potluck. And at the potluck, I don't know whether people know what potluck is, but basically what happens is everyone brings a dish. And it's a really good concept where you bring a vegan dish, and everyone, it's like a community, and you share the food. I don't know whether you've got something similar here in Berlin, but basically, you bring a dish of food, and you take it with you. And I went to this event, and it took place once a month. And there were like 100 dishes. There were 100 people there. And each one had bought different food. I looked at it. I tried it. I thought, oh, what's this? This is quinoa. What is quinoa? Does everyone know what quinoa is? Quinoa, later on I found. So I thought, okay. So it's like, okay, I'm going to try this food, all this food. And suddenly it was like, I've got no objection. There's no rational reason why I should not follow a vegan diet. If this food tastes so good, what's the reason for me to be having animal products? There's absolutely no reason. So it was about finding substitutes, and I did that and I thought, well, what am I going to do now? So I thought, oh, you know what, I'm going to help. In my own journey, I'm going to learn about what can I use substitutes instead of egg, instead of milk, and butter. And we'll talk about in just a moment what those substitutes are. But I thought, oh, I'm going to start a website called Vegan, and I'm going to do recipes. And each week I did a new recipe. Within 6 weeks, I thought, I've run out of my repertoire of recipes. So what am I going to do now? So it's like, okay, so I can't use eggs. So what am I going to do? What am I going to use instead? So it's like flax seeds. I'm going to use flax seeds for this. So it's like, okay, I'm going to use flax seeds. So grounding flax seeds, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But all these new things were coming to me. And I then went through my own period of depression because also I'm also a qualified solicitor. I don't know what people know that to mean, because I work as a lawyer full time, and I work as a lawyer full time in the city. So I have a really, really taxing job. So it's just like, it's not 9 to 5, but it's a difficult, taxing job. And I combined that with doing the vegan recipes. And each week I'll do the recipes. And I remember closing down my law firm, and I went off to Bali, and I came back and I started writing my book. And after I started writing my book, I thought I want to volunteer, I want to help out. What can I do? What can I do that makes a change? And Rachel's already doing that. Rachel was helping out Gareth at Far Place back in the United Kingdom, and she's now here in Berlin. But it was like, what can I do? So I thought, I'm going to volunteer. I'm going to volunteer for stuff. So somebody said, do you want to volunteer for this event? So I said, yeah, okay. Well, I didn't know who it was. Turned up. It was the Vegan Society. So I thought, I'll volunteer. Now, each time they came to London, I'd go and help out because I wanted to do something. So I had my taxing job, and I had my recipes, and I wanted to help out, and I wanted to be active. Anyway, they said, well, why don't you apply to become a trustee of the Vegan Society? So I thought, I don't know whether people know do people know the Vegan Society? It's the first vegan society in the world. So anyway, Donald Watson coined the word vegan. But anyway, so I basically became a trustee. And I remember, after I'd become a trustee, I thought, I think I'm going to help out. I'm just going to apply to become the vice chair. I'm not going to become I'm just going to help the chair with the stuff that he needs to do. So within 2-3 weeks, the chair falls ill, and I become the acting chair, and then I become the chair of the Vegan Society. And it was just like, oh my goodness, this like 2 years ago, I was a meat eater, and suddenly I've rose to become the chair of the Vegan Society, which is quite, in the United Kingdom, it's quite, it's astounding. And so from there, I just thought, you know what, after being the chair for a year, I thought, I want to go around, I want to go and talk to different people. And last year, and I started talking at different festivals, and last year I came to Berlin. This year, I'm speaking in Bali, I'm speaking at various festivals, and my life has changed dramatically. And that is within the space of 5 to 6 years. And each of you, those of you who are just starting out on your journey, each of you can make a change. You can make a difference, and it's so important in terms of the animals, the suffering that they have. And we'll go through that in just a moment, but I just wanted to share my story, and that brings me up to today. Today, here with Doreen, who's worked so tremendously hard to make this happen. And I'm so grateful to be welcomed back again. So let's continue for those people who are excited about hearing more. Now, what am I going to cover? Why go vegan? Will I die if I go vegan? I'm going to cover the first week's shopping list. Simple recipes, plant-based milks, your local health food shop. Now, obviously, this applies to the United Kingdom, but I think it applies generally anyway. The importance of omega-3 and vitamin B12. It's easy to find protein in a balanced diet. We're told that you can't. Easy substitutes for eggs, butter, and honey. And how to get creative with food, eating out, the myriad of reasons why people become vegan, coming out as a vegan and rising above the storms, and really enjoying and maximizing life. So, why go vegan? Why? What's the rational reason for that? Well, do you feel slightly uncomfortable about where your food is coming from? Are you concerned about the ecological damage the food that you're eating is causing harm to you and the planet? And thirdly, are you worried about your health and what you are putting into your body? Now, if the answer to any of these questions is yes, Well, perhaps it's time. Perhaps it's time that you thought about becoming vegan. And I encourage you to give great consideration to those questions. So, next question. Will I die if I go vegan? Well, I think certainly if you adopt more fruit and vegetables in your diet and become much more health conscious, you could lead a life-extending life. I don't think that came out right, but you know what I mean. So, but the whole point is a vegan diet supports excellent health. Now, the Global Burden of Disease study recommends that you avoid processed meat. For those of you that are not already vegan, I encourage you. If there's one change, if I cannot persuade you to become vegan, if I cannot do this, for those who are not vegan, one thing you can do to your body is do not have processed meat. That is really, really harmful to you. So if there's one change, one small difference, just make that difference and work from there. Now, the other thing the Global Burden of Disease study recommends is avoid excess salt. Salt is put into everything. Do try to avoid having salt. The other thing is it recommends having 150 grams of grains, whole grains, that's whole grains, a day, 300 grams of fruits a day, 25 grams of nuts a day, 500 grams of vegetables. That's a hell of a lot of vegetables, but 500 grams of vegetables, okay? And also 300 milligrams of long-chain omega-3 fats a day. Now, first week shopping list. Now, this is a very, very simple shopping list. It's just very, very simple. But anyway, just run with it, will you? So my suggestion is you start off with really, for those people that, just basic. This is for basics. Broccoli, cauliflower, nuts, as I said, 25 grams a day. Lentils, oats, berries, Alpro vegan yogurt. I don't know, you've probably got similar brands here in Berlin. I probably should have mended it for here, but never mind. Bananas, apples. Now, alternatives to normal dairy milk. You can have oat milk, coconut milk, almond milk, and we'll go through that in just a moment. But pasta, rice of your choice, and yeast flakes. That's Holland brand. That's the United Kingdom. I think you've got another one here. You've got another store. But anyway, and the other thing is, one thing that's really good is I don't know whether you have it here in Berlin, but it's a B12 oral spray, and you just have it every day, and that'll do you good. Now, some simple recipes. Who knows how to make porridge? Yay! Porridge, fantastic for breakfast, Really, really easy. Really, really easy. It's just oats and filtered water, or oats and alternative to dairy milk. And top it up with vegan yogurt and berries. Fantastic starter. It's a slow GI burner. It really is. And that sees you through all morning. Now, truth be told, and I'll write about this in my second book, but I've moved on to having shakes in the morning. So in the morning, what I'll have is I'll get my melon, I'll take the rind off, and I'll have that. And that's my breakfast. And it's fantastic, and I feel wide awake. The other thing that's really exciting that I've started having is turmeric, lemon, and ginger. That, if you want to pick me up, don't have coffee. Do not have coffee. Have that. That is fantastic. It's a really good thing. What happens is you take it and you think, oh my God, this is gross. Oh, but actually, 2 minutes later, you're like, singing. Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. Because I had some just now. They've got some over down there, so do have some. So it's turmeric, ginger, and lime juice. Really, really good awakener instead of coffee. The other thing you could do is lentils, broccoli, rice, topped with yeast flakes. That's really nice as well. Lentils are so easy to do. Lentils, you just simmer away on the stove for about 10, 15 minutes in some water, and you know, the water evaporates. And that's your lentils. You can flavour it with different spices. Really, really simple dish to do. Again, pasta. Pasta is really easy. You just put it in water for about 10 minutes, and you've got your pasta already done. Then you add yeast flakes to it. Yeast flakes are really, really nice and tasty. Alternative to Parmesan and other cheeses. And have that with pasta sauce. Pasta sauce, you can make your own tomatoes. Basically, in terms of pasta sauce, really, really easy. Get your tomatoes, get your onions, right? Saute the onions for 2 or 3 minutes. Get your tomatoes, saute for another 2 or 3 minutes, right? Add some herbs. Bob's your uncle. You've got your dish. You've got a dish there. And quinoa. Quinoa is so easy, honestly. I was doing last year, the year before. I'm going to digress now. Okay. So, on my trips, my life is. How long have we got? We've got. Okay. So, on my life, I do things that excite me. I do things. If something doesn't excite me, I don't do it. So, anyway, 2 years ago, I thought. I was invited to do some food at a festival. So they said, so the first festival was Raw Fest. So I thought, I'll go along. So I bought all this food about 2 weeks before the festival. And the organizer calls me up and said, Edward, you do realise that the food that we serve at this particular festival, which is a raw vegan festival, is organic food? I said, oh, no, I didn't realise that. And it was just like, okay, what? Okay. So I put the phone down and I thought, shit, I haven't read the instructions. I looked at the instructions and said, don't forget, if you're going to serve food, it's got to be organic food, bio. That's bio food here. So it's got to be bio food. So it's like, oh, okay. So it's like 2 weeks before the event, I've got to find alternative suppliers. So I'm running around trying to find alternative suppliers. I find these suppliers. Thankfully, on the last day. And so that was a learning curve for me, but it was really exciting. And the whole weekend I spent in the kitchen. And my friend was outside helping out and said, Edward, go back into the kitchen and do some more food. Edward, go back into the kitchen. And it was just really, really exciting because like working full time and then doing that at the weekend, it was like really good. And then I decided I'd help out another festival. And this other festival was called Queer Spirit. Now, and I said, how I live my life is I became vegan for spiritual reasons. And I remember it was a month before the event, and I thought, the universe is going to provide, everything's going to be fine, everything's going to be fine. 3 weeks before the event, my friend says to me, Edward, have you thought about what we're going to do? Because there's no electricity supply at the festival that we're going to. What are you going to do in terms of food? I said, it'll be fine. I'll serve salads, be okay, yeah, doesn't matter. Anyway, he said, well, why don't you look at catering vans? So I looked at catering vans, and we looked at eBay. And this catering van, there was like one for £4,000. I said, oh, that's good. That's a really good price. Let's go for that one. So we looked at that, but it was in Northern Ireland. Now, Northern Ireland from London is about, I don't know how far is it. Do you know how far it is? I don't. But anyway, it's a distance. It's not, you have to get the plane to get there. Or you have to go on the ferry. So anyway, this is like 3 weeks before the event. I contact the organizer, the person who owns the van. We've still got no solution. And he says, oh, so I'm really sorry. Somebody's already bought the van. They put deposit down. So I thought, oh, okay, what am I going to do now? So I just thought, everything's going to be all right, everything's going to be all right, everything's going to be all right. Anyway, 2 weeks before the event, he rings me up and says, oh, that the person who put the deposit down has decided that they're no longer wanting to buy the van. I said, oh, okay, do you want it? I said, yeah, okay. So my friend said to me, because I don't drive. The other thing is I don't drive. I don't have a driving license. So I had to take my friend with me. He said, so we bought a ticket. And he said, do you think we should buy a return ticket to Northern Ireland? I said, no. We're buying a one-way ticket to Northern Ireland, and we're going to get to Northern Ireland, and we're going to take this van from Northern Ireland, we're going to drive all the way back to London, because that's the only solution we've got, and it's the only solution that's being presented. So anyway, we get to Northern Ireland, we get on, we come off the other end, but anyone who's been to Northern Ireland will know that it is this is being recorded. This is, anyone would know that there isn't really much going on in Northern Ireland. So we get picked up by the person who owns the vehicle. And so we get to the place, and it's like this really desolate place in Northern Ireland. Really desolate. And we arrive there. I thought, oh, that's Matilda. Because Matilda, that's the van. I'm going to call her Matilda. So we arrived there, and I said, Ian, Ian said, shall we test drive it? I said, look, it doesn't matter if we test drive it or not. We're taking the van. So anyway, we tested drive it, and the gear was pulling and whatever. I was like, Edward, do you really want this van? I said, we've got no solution. We've got to have this van. So we paid for the van. We got into the van. Anyway, we start on the following day. We go in the car, in the van, and we go down, and we go uphill, and it goes from like it goes 60, 50, 40, 20. 30, 12, 20, 10. And it's just like, it's the only catering van that articulated lorries pass by. It's so slow. So we were going up and down. It was like, up, down. Going fast as down to go back up. But honestly, it was an epic. It was like a road trip from Northern Line back to London. But it was exciting. It was exciting. And that's only because I became vegan. I was able to do all these things, like all this, my life. It was like, yeah, and then I got to this event. Then it was like, right, we've got to find a solution. We've got the catering van, we've got something to do our food in. What are we going to do next? I'm going to put solar panels. We're going to get solar panels. So like a week before the event, I had to get solar panels on Matilda. And Matilda is actually in my book. But unfortunately, Matilda's cost a lot, and I've had to sell Matilda about a month ago. So that's been an epic journey, and that'll be in my second book. In my second book, I'll talk about the further adventures of Matilda, but she's gone now, I'm afraid, so there we go. Let me continue. So a little bit of digression, but I hope it was worth it. Next, plant-based milks. Now, really, really, really easy to make your own milk. Now, you may not know it, but the only thing you need is a nut milk bag. Now, you can get one from eBay. It's not expensive. Making your own milk is so easy. Basically, it's just 3 ingredients: water, your nuts, or your oats, and dates, and that's it. And what normally I do is I will probably get about 120 grams of nuts, soak them in water, and then put it in a blender with the dates. And then what I've got there is I've got the nut milk. And what you do is the nut milk bag. What you do is you get your nut milk bag with it, and I'm really clumsy, so I tend to drip everything everywhere. So you get your nut milk. Imagine that's a nut milk bag, right? You go there, not around the corner. And then you put it through, and it actually, you get your own nut milk, and it's really fantastic because it's fresh, and you know what's being put into it. So really, really easy. The next thing I want to talk about is remember earlier we were talking about coconut milk and almond milk and rice milk. There are so many choices out there now. So if you don't want to go for your own versions, there are so many alternative choices to dairy milk. Now, what I tend to find is coconut and soya milk tends to be sweeter and creamier. Now, for those concerned about soya, just so you know, most of the world's soya is GMO. So you need to be really careful. If you're going to use soya, please, please, please be careful. And I think you know, if I'm going to have soya, I'll make sure that it's organic. Because I have a concern about that. And I encourage you to look at alternative sources instead of soya. Sorry, I just need to take a break. And the other thing is almond, hemp, and hazelnut milks are so nice because they're very, very nutty and very flavoursome. Rice milk tends to be slightly thinner and sweeter in consistency. Now, most of these milks actually are, these milks that you find in the cartons are actually fortified with calcium and vitamin D and iron. So if you're looking for an extra nutritional boost, then perhaps try those. And even some of them are fortified with vitamin B12. And we'll talk about the importance of vitamin B12 in just a minute. Now, if you don't know where to go, in Berlin, you've got two different supermarkets. You've got Alta Natura. Is it Alta Natura? Alta Natura. Bio. You've got Bio. You've got loads. There's so many health food shops. I went to a couple of them yesterday because for me it's really important to have really healthy food that I know that I've made. So do explore your health food shop because they'll have loads and loads of stuff for you to try out. It'll include herbs, vitamins, medicines, and allergy-free foods, organic, raw food, even your essential fatty acids, and even cruelty-free body care, and environmentally healthy household cleaners, and even recycled paper products. Amazing. It wasn't like this years ago, but it is now. So there's a lot of stuff available at your local health food shop, and I encourage you to explore that. Now, the importance of omega-3 and vitamin B12. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is fatty acids. Fats and oils are made of constituents called fatty acids. Now, there are three types of fats: saturated fats, which you'll find in things as coconut oil, and then you've got monosaturated fats, which you can find in avocados. Avocados is a really good source of unsaturated fats, and so are nuts. Omega-3, you can find that in walnuts, hemp seeds, flax seeds, dark leafy greens. Now, if you are a male and over 30, it's much more difficult for you to absorb flaxseed. So I encourage you to, if you're over 30 and a male, to have dark leafy greens, walnuts, and hemp seeds as your source of omega-3. Omega-6, in comparison, you'll find in safflower oil, sunflower oil, cotton oil, and corn oil. And I encourage you to ensure that you have, to have less of those. Now, the other thing is protein. Protein, there's such a myth. I mean, who's heard that you can only get protein from meat? You can't. It's a complete fallacy. You get protein from a well-balanced vegan diet. And in fact, you can find protein in a lot of products. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. But I think that the issue here is how much protein do you actually need? Now, I weigh about 77 kilograms. So the Vegan Society says that you should have 1% of that. So basically, I should be having, I don't know, is it 1% or 0.1%? But anyway, I should be having 77 grams of protein a day because I weigh 77 kilos. So weigh yourself and look at how much protein you need. Now, I'm going to go through this table. Can people see the table? Yes, okay. Now, seitan, 75 grams of protein in every 100 grams. Now, those people that take seitan, I encourage you to be very careful and ensure you only have a small quantity of seitan a day because it affects your arteries and it should only be used really as a treat, not something that you should have periodically because it can affect your health. But in any event, spirulina. Has anyone tried spirulina? Isn't it awful? It is. Do you? Oh my goodness! It's gross. But anyway, it's a really, really good source of protein. Who knew? Sunflower seeds, cashew nuts, oats, linseeds, also known as flax seeds, Brazil nuts, whole grain bread, lentils, quinoa. These are all really, really good source of protein. Can you see? So when you look at that, it's actually, you can get the same thing in meat, but you can get the same thing from adopting a vegan diet. Now, the other thing is, if you think about it, if I need 77 grams of protein a day, if I start off with porridge, well, look at this. Porridge, oat with almond milk. That's going to give me 13 grams. I've started with 13 grams of protein. If I then have lentils for lunch with sunflower seeds, some broccoli, brown rice, that's 33.5 grams of protein. Total that up, that's 46.5 grams of protein. I only need another 30 grams of protein for the day. That's all I need. And that's on a well-balanced diet. So it's really, really easy for you to find protein and get protein and have that well-balanced diet. Now, easy substitutes for eggs, butter, and honey. I tend to use flaxseed or linseed as a substitute for eggs. Now, what I tend to do is I tend to grind. Now, the other thing is if you're going to have flaxseed or linseed, make sure you grind it because otherwise it'll go straight through your body and you won't get any nourishment. And obviously, men, I've spoken about men over 30. I've told you what to do there. But in terms of linseeds, what you do is you get your ground linseeds and you get a tablespoon of linseed and mix that with 3 tablespoons of water, and that's your substitute for 1 egg. You can also use silken tofu, but I encourage you to use organic silken tofu. Baking soda and vinegar. Has anyone tried baking soda and vinegar for making cakes and brownies? Really, really, really easy. So what you do is what you do is you get your baking soda and vinegar mixed together, and it'll just fluff up, and it'll just make your cakes rise up. Really, really good. And I've got some recipes. I don't know whether I've got the recipes in this book, but I've got recipes on my website. How long have we got? 10 minutes. Okay, cool. And banana is really good for making moist cakes and muffins. The other thing is butters, applesauce, prune juice, pumpkin puree. These are really good. Banana even. Rapeseed oil, coconut oil, olive oil. Substitutes for honey. Don't use honey. Perhaps think about using maple syrup or date syrup or coconut syrup or olive oil. Sorry, yeah, that's it. Did I say that right? Yeah, I did. Now, how to get creative with food. Oh. For me, life isn't about getting things right or wrong. I go through so many trials and tribulations through the recipes I make. I've tried about 4 times to make the perfect tiramisu, and I still haven't done it. I still have not created the tiramisu. I have, however, done the perfect, well, so for me, the perfect moussaka. Now, moussaka, I've got a recipe on my website for moussaka, and it's absolutely gorgeous. But do I encourage you, when you're starting out to be vegan, just experiment, try different things, and you don't know where you'll go. But the whole thing about life is trying things out and working with it. Eating out. There's so many places to eat out on. The other thing is, if you're eating out in an Indian restaurant, just be careful about ghee. Ghee is actually animal fat, so just be careful about asking about whether it's made with ghee or we're made with oil. Vegetable Thai green curry. Again, if you go for Thai food, be careful about shrimp paste because you'll find that. Although it looks vegan on the outside, it may not actually be. Vegetable spring rolls. Mushroom risotto, if you go to Italian restaurants, you're going to find that. You're going to find really lovely mushroom risotto, tomato pasta. If you go to a Greek restaurant, you've got your falafel, your vine leaves, your hummus, and olives. So there are loads of choices. Now, I want to talk about the reasons why people become vegan. There is a technical issue. I think there's a technical issue here. But anyway, I'm going to talk about this. This is a bit more serious. So, I became vegan for spiritual reasons, but there are a myriad of reasons why people become vegan. Environmental, support the planet, because agriculture is the leading cause of deforestation, species extinction, habitat loss, ocean dead zones, and animal agriculture is inefficient because it involves growing fresh crop that is diverted to feed animals instead of humans. And it uses scarce fresh water. There's contamination of groundwater through animal excrement and the use of herbicides, pesticides, chemical fertilizers causes ocean dead zones. Imagine what's that doing to the planet. And livestock is one of the greatest cause of greenhouse gas emissions. So if you're concerned about the environment, think about adopting a vegan diet. Animal rights, contributing to the violence inflicted on innocent animals. By adopting a meat-based diet, you are contributing to the violence and suffering of innocent animals. Approximately 98% of animal products are derived from intensive factory farming. Consider the quality of life for that particular animal. Labels such as free range, humane, cage-free are a testament of our increased concern about animal welfare, but death is the final act of unwarranted harm. Approximately 60 billion land animals and 1 trillion marine life are killed each year. Imagine what's that doing to the planet. Pigs, cows, chickens have incredible cognitive intelligence. These are intelligent creatures. And wildlife deemed a threat to animal agriculture are killed. Animal agriculture impacts on world hunger. In the world that we live in, 1 in 9 of the world's population is seriously malnourished. 1 in 9. How is that possible? How is that possible that we have so much in the West and yet there is lack all over the globe? Is that really equitable? I think for me, life is about discovering your own path and journey and appreciating that this is a multifaceted world. And being vegan can be a loaded word. So prepare yourself. Stand up for what you believe to be your truth. And really maximize your journey, your life. Each of us has the ability to change our own path. I mean, if I can do it, if I can go from just being a vegan to where I am now, 6 years ago, anyone, and Rachel, you're doing this. Rachel, it's amazing what she's doing now, and I encourage you all, to be enthusiastic about your journey, about life. There is. I mean, I have a really, really taxing 9-to-5 job. Well, it's not a 9-to-5 job, but it's a really taxing job as a lawyer, and I work in the city. And this week was really hectic. I worked 10 days in a row. I worked Saturday, Sunday, and I worked until yesterday. I flew here. But it's so important for me to have that balance, to have that really hectic life, to have that do this. So I encourage you to go out and find your own happiness. Be happy. Life is about being happy. Don't be sad. If something's sad, just stop doing it. Do something that excites you. Live your life. Live your life to the full. Now, I'm going to finish because I've come to the end of my talk. But my book is out. It's called Essence: The Beginner's Guide to Veganism. Please do, if you want to purchase it, it's available outside. There is also my website, which is called Effie Vegan, and that's my book. That's me. I was actually in some of the celebrity magazines last year in London, in the United Kingdom. I was in OK. So there's my stuff. And obviously, if you want to If you haven't done so already, there's a clipboard over there, and please sign up to my newsletter. And that's my book, and that's it for me. Thank you so much.